We are finishing another school year, and it has, like every other year, flown by. I can't believe we're wrapping up all of our curriculum for this year. We have finished some, and we are like this close to finishing the rest. And it always blows my mind how fast it goes. So I'm going to share our group subjects, our morning subjects that we did together. This year I homeschooled my 5th grader and my 1st grader. I do have a 3rd grader, but she went to school this year. So I just had the 2 this year. I'm gonna share what we did, what worked, what we liked, what didn't work. So we're gonna get into it. I've got a lot to cover. And so this is science, history/social studies, and our Bible. So first we're gonna start off with, I guess, science, because it's right on the top of my big book stack of books here. So first we've done the Good and the Beautiful science units for a couple years now. My girls really love the Good and the Beautiful science. So we continued. We did 4 units this year. We're about to finish up our 4th unit. So this is safety. It does say for grades 3 to 8, but I did mention in another video, I definitely think younger kids could absolutely do this. This to me seems more geared for younger kids. It was basic safety stuff that you've probably already done and probably have already shown your kids before. And so I felt like it was fine. It wasn't my favorite unit that we've done from the Good and the Beautiful, to be honest. I want to say really quick before I move on, it was so funny. It was talking about, I was talking about like peer pressure. And that is good. That is definitely a good talking point. And they gave, one of the activities was they gave all these different scenarios, like, you know, if you're doing this at your friend's house and they're saying this, and, you know, how would you react? But one of the scenarios, I'm not even lying, was if your friends wanted to jump off a cliff or jump off a bridge, what would you do? And I just read that and started cracking up in the middle of our science lesson. They really pulled out the old, if your friend jumped off a bridge, would you jump off too? And I have not heard that one since I was a kid. And so anyway, it was good. My girls liked it. There were some things that they learned, but most of this was just review. Like I said, I think it would be more geared toward a younger age personally. We did marine biology. This one was excellent. This was really good. We loved this one. We even went to the aquarium afterwards, made a whole field trip out of it. We learned a lot. My girls loved it. I think we even did we get the book? With all the Good and the Beautiful units, science units, there's always an optional like book pack. It's usually 2 or 3 books that go along with it. I think we did get it for that. I can't remember. Yes, I think we did. That one was great. We are finishing, hold on. We're finishing birds. This is the older version. You can really tell a difference between, this is the older version. I had this bound at Staples, and the newer version, like, I have seen on a lot of the Facebook groups that some people are concerned that the newer version is like shorter and lacking. I still liked the new version. We've only done 1, so I can't really say too much, but I have a few of the newer versions for next year, and I think they still look really good. If you want to, you can always add extra things. If you don't want to, you could do more units if you'd like to. I think that they still are good and effective. That's just me personally, but they definitely seem shorter, and the lessons don't take as long, and they don't have, I feel like, probably quite as much content as the older versions, but that is not a deterrent for me. So we're finishing birds. We've liked this one as well. My daughter was really excited to study about birds, so I think that this one has been good. We always learn a lot. And then lastly, I cannot find it, but we did the energy unit, and that is the old version as well. So I had that bound at Staples. And that one was good too. It wasn't that it wasn't done well. It was just not, my children and I personally, honestly, prefer biology and life science more than like the physical science aspect of it. I think because it's so abstract. It wasn't our favorite. My daughter we just trudged through it, to be honest. But you know, you have to learn that type of stuff. You can't just always learn the fun things and the things that you find interesting. You kind of have to need to know about, you know, weather and all of that stuff. So that one was good too. It wasn't that it wasn't done well. It just wasn't personally our cup of tea. Now I have multiple science units. So we did those That was initially supposed to be for my older daughter, my 5th grader. And then my younger daughter, I was going to get her different science units. In reality, I didn't even really need to do that because she ended up participating in every single lesson of these units. And she actually absorbed a lot of the information. She really loves science. I have 2 science lovers. And so for her, my youngest one, I had gotten her, this is Heaven and Earth for Beginners. This is from Master Books. This includes Weather and Water for Beginners, Universe for Beginners, and Planet Earth for Beginners, as well as the Good and the Beautiful, the Little Hearts and Hands. If you want to, I have a whole video comparing these two. So I'm not going to do like flip throughs and everything like that. I'm just going to give a brief overview of the end of the year, our final thoughts. So, but if you do, I'll link that below and you'll be able to watch that video if you're interested. So this is for grades, I think they're both intended for kindergarten to 2nd graders. This one seemed a little bit more, not advanced, just more sciencey and textbooky. And not that that's a bad thing. My daughter did not like that one. We actually stopped it, I think even before Christmas. I don't think I've given an update about that one. Every time I pulled, I'd say, okay, it's your science. She was always like, yay, science. And then when I pulled this one out, she was like, ew, I don't want to do that one. She didn't love this one. And not that it's not good. It really is. Again, this is literally just personal preference. That's pretty much what all these curriculum reviews are. Let's be honest. It's literally just personal preference. So she just didn't love this one. I would read the little section and then there's comprehension questions afterwards. And I would ask her and I was just like crickets chirping, like blank stares. And I'm like, I just read this. How do you not remember? She just didn't absorb it. She just didn't like it. This, on the other hand, she absolutely loves. This comes with a little teacher guide. It's only 30 lessons, so very simple, sweet, to the point. If you are just looking for like a gentle, fun introduction to science for your littler ones, this is so good. This is really, really good. So it has the parent guide. The lessons take just a few minutes. And then it has the big book of stories and it has these really pretty, it's like it's stories. It's a picture. It's different little mini picture books, like a compilation into all the subjects that they talk about. And so they alternate between a story in there, or there's like a little, you can watch a little video and it's like 5 minutes long and it'll be like a little mini documentary. And then there's comprehension questions at the end. I would ask her those questions and she always knew the answers and she was right there and paying attention. She loves it, loves it, loves it. I think there's going to be a level 2 of this or another version. If we do, I don't know. I don't have enough. I have so much science that we're doing next year, but she was like, I want to do it. We'll see. I don't know. But I would definitely do this hands down. Like I said, it's only 30 lessons. So it's not overwhelming. Geography, we have done this for 2 years. Actually, we started last year with these and it's just 50 states, an activity book. And we just took our time and went with it and did, pretty much one state. We just do this on Fridays. We just do like one state and keep it very simple, but it's fun. It's bright, colorful. They give little information about it. And there's little different activities per state and kind of like the main, like a fun fact. They also give like main, like big geography, like main geographical points or that type of thing. And then there's stickers in there, which my girls love stickers. So this is fun. If you're just looking like for a gentle introduction to states, you don't need to do like a whole entire state study. I recommend these. I just got these on Amazon. I will try to link them below. Hopefully they're still available. This is Around the World with Picture Books Part 2. If you guys have been here for a while, you know how much I love these courses so much. So far, everything we've done from Beautiful Feet books, we've loved, and we're going to continue with them next year. And I have a few videos on, in-depth look at these courses. This is part 2. We did part 1 last year, and it just covers different sections. Are you okay? My dog is like freaking out on the couch right now. It's all right. It's okay. So we did 2 sections. First, last year, part 1 covers Asia, Antarctica, Australia, and Africa. And then this one covered South America and Europe. I think people think that just because it's picture books, you can't really, it doesn't get in depth or you can't really learn. And I would say total opposite. It's been amazing. Like there's not only the books that it comes with, but there's also like extra library books that they recommend. And I try to get all of them, like as many as we can in our library. And sometimes if they're not available in the library, then I go on YouTube and someone has read it aloud. So pretty much all of these books we've read. I mean, I counted, I was like, just curious. It was over 100 books that we read just this year, just with this course, not including last year. So I think it's just so good. It's just a great introduction to, it's a literature approach for geography and social cultural studies. And they talk about artists and composers and things like that. So you totally could make this your own. If you're interested, I have a couple videos. I will leave them below too. And you can get a really good in-depth look. I cannot say enough about this. I would definitely do this again. We are excited to be starting in American history next year, but these past 2 years have been so good. My girls always look forward to what book we're going to be reading about what country. They have cuisine that you can do. They have map work and geography. It's been a really, really fun. We've loved it and look forward to it. And I'm so glad I found this a couple years ago. So happy. I shared this in one of my updates, maybe like, I don't know, all the months are running together. So maybe March, I'm going to say ish, February, March. I shared how we were starting with this Simply Charlotte Mason Enrichment Studies, Volume 1. This is a year of art, music, literature, and more. Lesson plans for grade 1 to 12. And I was going to make a whole video on this, you guys, but I did not. And the reason is because we actually aren't going to be continuing with it next year. And the reason for that is because it's not that there was anything wrong with this or I didn't like it. Quite the opposite. I did find it to be very lovely. But I realized when I was starting to plan for next year, and the reason, so I got it this year because I wanted to start it this year just to kind of get my feet wet with it. And then my plan was to continue with this volume next year since it's broken into 3 terms. I was going to do 1 term this year, 2 terms next year. But when I was planning for next year, I realized it just, there's only so much time we have in a day. And with multiple children, a baby coming, I've never homeschooled with a baby before. I have to like pick and choose. Like as much as I want to do it all, I can't, that's just not realistic. And so I said, what is going to be staying? What do I want to incorporate? So I have a whole video on the direction I want to change, or I want my homeschool to go in, if you want to watch that and what we will be using. And I love components of this so much, but we're just not gonna continue with it. But she does incorporate like Shakespeare studies, composers, art, poetry. There's so many aspects of this that I think is great. Even like handicrafts and Spanish and all that. You can, the sky's the limit with this one. Okay, maybe not the sky's the limit, but there's like 10 or 12 focuses on here. We're just not going to continue with it. But one thing we will be doing that I really loved, laying down the rails for children. This is part of this. And she tells you to do this like twice a week. And this is a habit training course. I actually have both books. And so I've been really liking this. I don't rely on this like, okay, now my kids are going to have amazing habits because twice a week for 10 minutes a day, we decided to do habit training. Like obviously you have to do that all throughout the day. It's constant, it's perpetual. It feels like it never ends. Instilling good morals and character and all that into your children. But I think I like this because it's given me good talking points, and it's brought up things that like of a specific character trait that I didn't even think about. I'm like, oh yeah, that's a really good point of why we need to have this. And how to incorporate that. And I think it's really good, like I said, talking points and discussions and for conversation. And so we will be continuing this next year. And I would do this. You just can only do so much. Oh, and then one more thing. We did, I don't even know where, I have so much curriculum around. I think it's in my old school room. We did Confessions of a Homeschooler. It was like an artist study, and it's a PDF. So it wasn't very much. It was like maybe $10 or $12. And basically it's a whole year's worth of studying artist for, I think she gives like 6 or 8 artists. She gives a picture book to go along with it. She gives like lap books, like puzzles that you can cut out, and then like a lesson on doing the art itself, like recreating the art. It gives you like, okay, what medium did they use? And so it really was a good study. It just wasn't for us. And so I ditched that one too. I completely forgot to talk about that over the past couple months. We did not really continue with that after about the first month or two. It just was not it was too formal. I just want our art studies to be a little bit more relaxed and laid back. And that's just how my style is for when it comes to that type of thing. And so if you are an art loving family, your children love art, I think it's a good one. It just wasn't for us. Okay. And then lastly is Bible. We did Who is God and What We Believe. This is biblical worldview of God and truth. Oh, not Who is God and What We Believe. I don't know what I'm talking about. Who is God and Can I Really Know Him? This is from Apologia. This lays the foundation for like biblical worldviews. I talked about this in another one of my updates. And at the time, I think it was the half-year point, because I was still like on the fence if I even wanted to finish this book. If you are a new believer or you're still establishing your faith, I think if you're just newer to Christianity and all of that, I think this is a really, 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 really good starting off point. For us, there was a few things that we got out of it, but for the most part, I think it was a lot of review. I did just continue with it only because I got interrupted and I totally lost my train of thought. I know I was talking about this. I think I was saying that it was really good for beginners. There was a few things that we did learn, absolutely, but I think to me, it left me wanting a little bit more. So for example, it was talking about worldviews, and it was like, well, this person has this worldview and this person has this worldview, which is great. And then it was like, so how do we know which one is true if they're all differing? And I'm like, yes, that's an amazing question. But it didn't really give me the answer to that. It just kind of skimmed over it and glossed over it. So I don't know. It kind of just left me like, oh, it was so close, but not quite exactly what we wanted. I am actually doing volume 2. There's another one of these, and that's the book I actually wanted to get for this year. But because I'm just like, there's a volume 1, so I have to do that before I do volume 2. I don't know. I'm going to do volume 2. And that is what's it called? Biblical worldview of self, and like, who am I and what am I doing here? That type of thing. And I have looked through that, thumbed through that, and read a couple of the pages throughout the entire book, and there's a lot of really good discussion points. So I think we're gonna like that one. I keep forgetting to mention this. There are workbooks that go along with it. So there's little like journals that you can do that give prompts, and there's activities. So there is one that's like for older kids, and then there's one that's like a junior journal. I didn't do any of the journals, and I won't be for next year either. And it's not, I just wanted to kind of have an open discussion and not make it be something like, now you're forced to write all these things about it. And a lot of it I felt like kind of was busy work. Like, my kids don't need to do they might think it's fun, but they don't need to do like a word search on, these words. And so I just wanted it to be something that we just had a discussion about and things like that. And so that is an option if you want. And then lastly, we have How Great Is Our God. This is 100 indescribable devotions about God and science. This is such a cute little book. It just gives like a little scientific fact, and then it all ties in with, it makes a connection with God and the Bible. And like I said, my girls are science girls, so we have loved we've really enjoyed this. I have too. We've gotten a lot of information. If your kids like weird but true, or just random like scientific factoids, but you want it from like a biblical perspective, this is really, really good. There's a couple volumes of this. So we're finishing this one. We're about to finish it. And then next year, we're going to do the next volume. Whoa, what just happened? Next year, we're going to do the next volume for that as well. My youngest one really, really loved this one. She was like, oh, not so much with this one, but she really loved this one. And we all did. All three of us really enjoyed this, just to get some of the interesting facts. So that is it. I don't think I have anything else that we did. These two we would alternate. So we would do this 3 days a week, this 2 days a week. These laying down the rails, we've just been doing that twice a week. And then I'll read a poem one day out of our poetry book that we have. It's like a Robert Louis Stevenson book. And then, like I said, like the states, we would do Fridays. Science, I would alternate with my girls. How we did that is Larissa would get 2 lessons per week. So we would do 2 of the main good and the beautiful lessons per week, that's all it's intended to anyway. And then Lola, my younger one, she would get 1 to 2 science lessons per week. And then on the 5th day, we would either do no science or make up a day if we missed a day, or I would just do like a science reader. So we have a couple readers, like picture books and things like that are just, just switch it up a little bit. So that's how we would do science. And then for Around the World with Picture Books, we did that daily as well. And it doesn't have as many lessons. Like if you just do what it comes with, there's not as many lessons, but because I added all of the picture books, we definitely do that every single day. And we will finish, we'll finish by the end of the year. We're about to finish we're on our second to last country. So we'll have that finished. Probably by the time this video comes out, it will already be done. We'll probably hopefully be already finished with all of this. So that was that. If there's any questions or comments or like clarification, please leave them down below in the comments. I'd love to be able to answer them, or like I said, clarify anything. I'll try to link below what I can so that you can see that. I hope you enjoyed this video. I always love seeing end of the year reviews, just so you can get a good idea. And again, take these reviews with a grain of salt. If one of these subjects you've done and you've loved, then that's totally fine. These are just what worked for us and our kids, and obviously we're all different. So hopefully though, sometimes you can get a really good idea of like new resources that you want to try. That's why I love making these and watching these videos. So if you did like this video and thought it was helpful, make sure to give it a thumbs up. I would really, really appreciate that. And if you want to stick around and subscribe, I'd love to have you here. I hope you have the best day, and I will talk to you soon, guys. Bye-bye.